American history. That's what the project intends to do. They put it right out there on the front page on the New York Times. So they're reframing this idea of our country. Do we love our country? Do we have gratitude for our country? Do we think our country is basically a good place? Or do we, as they prefer, hate our country, think it's terrible, think we ought to apologize for everybody, and delve into these racial theories that we need to?
We'll reach 180.
Hi, I'm Jane King, and thank you for watching. This show is all about public, private, and blockchain companies. We bring you the innovators behind the companies making the headlines in that space. Some are sponsored, some are invited, all are curated and focused on telling you, the viewers, their story. Here we go. FINXFLO is creating a user-centric trading platform that provides both retail and institutional investors access to DeFi and CeFi products. So with me is the CEO and co-founder, James Gillingham. Welcome back, James.
Thank you, Jane.
Great to see you again. So so we talked DeFi and CeFi, centralized exchanges, which is basically what we're used to. But you're the world's first hybrid aggregator of this. Can you explain what that means?
Sure. So FINXFLO, we essentially aggregate both centralized and decentralized exchanges. So we've signed up and we have access to all of their APIs, and we essentially put them into one account, essentially one portal, which is FINXFLO. And by trading through FINXFLO, you're able to access all of those underlying CeFi and DeFi exchanges.
Okay. And then what are some of the benefits in terms of offering both types of protocols?
So obviously, one of the benefits is that we have multiple traders. So instead of trading through one exchange itself, going through only one exchange, you only have access to the traders that are trading on that exchange. However, by us aggregating multiple exchanges, you have access to potentially millions of traders rather than thousands, rather going through just one and only exchange. We also get to offer a lot of different assets. So most assets are only available on one or two exchanges. So by us aggregating 25, 30 different CeFi, DeFi exchanges, you have access to a magnitude of assets, or you will have access to them once they're added onto FINXFLO, which will be very shortly. And then obviously for the more DeFi, decentralized traders, we also offer staking and liquidity mining through the platform. So what that essentially means is you don't have to move anywhere, but through our portal, everything is very succinct and in one place.
Okay. So, I mean, you can have your, stocks and things and your crypto and DeFi all in one place.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges that crypto traders are facing right now? Of course, we've seen the volatility lately, but anything else?
So one of the major challenges, or the number one issue, which many people have been reaching out to me in the past week, was the fact that most exchanges stopped pricing during this volatility. So when it was really volatile, a number of the tier 1 and tier 2 exchanges stopped allowing customers to be able to buy and sell crypto during the really high volatility that we've seen across the past week.
Yeah, no, it's been absolutely eye-popping to see some of these moves. And so that's how you're basically working to kind of stop these. I mean, it's similar to what we see at the New York Stock Exchange or something, where they can put the curbs in when things start getting really volatile.
Yeah, exactly. So what we do, the advantage that we actually bring to the market was during these super volatile times, because we aggregate so many exchanges, decentralized and centralized, we still continue to price. So whilst we were monitoring the underlying exchanges through the normal APIs and the normal feeds that traders normally receive, because of our institutional relationships, our pricing continued throughout the volatility, and we still allowed clients to have access to be able to buy and sell. Not only this, but our custody and our custodian, we never put any of our clients' funds on any centralized or decentralized exchange. We actually apply margin onto the exchanges ourselves. So even if you're looking to remove your capital or remove your coins and tokens during these high volatile moves, and the underlying exchanges stop, they go down, we still allow access to our custodian to remove your funds. So essentially, even when the underlying exchanges go down, FINXFLO is still operating.
Okay, interesting. Well, so your launch is coming up. I know there's a lot of kind of excitement about it. Where are you with the launch? How can the public find out about it?
Yeah, so we have recently launched the last 2 weeks. We started off very slow. So we added the first 50 and then we added the second 50 only last week.
Okay. And then since your last interview, FINXFLO has announced several powerhouse liquidity providers coming on board. Coinbase and Binance. I mean, those are two huge names.
Yeah, I mean, it's very exciting, obviously, to be able to add both of the two biggest probably names in crypto today. Obviously, it gives us a much bigger depth of book, so we have a lot more traders, we have a lot more assets, so we're able to offer all of the tokens and all of the actual coins that are on both Coinbase and Binance themselves. But not only this, but we also, because of our institutional relationships, we've negotiated with all of our liquidity partners, including those two, much better terms. So by actually trading through FINXFLO, your pricing will be much better than signing up to those exchanges directly.
Interesting. So, and you mentioned you're talking to other liquidity providers as well?
Yeah, so we're obviously always looking to add to our depth of book and the amount of assets that we're able to offer. So it's something that we continue to actively progress, and we're negotiating with many right now. Okay.
Well, it's interesting. I can tell this industry is maturing because there's these relationships that the liquidity is getting deeper, and it's really kind of coming to fruition.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, many people kind of got concerned across the last week and a half around the violent move. Obviously, there was a lot of money wiped away. However, if you were involved in crypto back in 2017, a move like this is, it's a slight correction. There is nothing really to worry about. There's people taking chips off the table, and obviously they're going to do that. But I foresee for the rest of 2021, I think it's going to be extremely bullish.
Okay, well, we will find out. Thank you so much, James. And come back and talk to us once you get launched, and we'll have an update.
Perfect. Thanks, Jane. Take care.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Pad Inventor Company. Computer hacks have gotten a lot of attention lately, but one company has a technology, an independent platform that may be able to help prevent some of these. And with me to explain more about this is Ilan Gyahi, who is the CEO of GlobalXData. So great to have you with us.
Great to have you, Jane, and hello to everybody who's watching us.
Yes. So if you could just explain, because of course we went through the Colonial Pipeline situation, there seems like there's a hack, every week. Explain what your company does and how it is different than some of the technology platforms that we're seeing right now.
Sure. So gladly, we are a Swiss-based technology company. I'm from Switzerland myself. We do have operations and a publicly traded company in Canada, and in the US, we have our subsidiary as well. We trade under ticker SwissF. What we do is we developed a suite of communication tools, such as email, messaging, backup, and file share under the brand Secure or on Secure Safe. So what Secure does, spelled S-E-K-E-U-R, what we do is we developed a proprietary email system and a proprietary messaging system with privacy and security in mind. Our advantage are the following. For example, we don't use big tech platform, so we're not on Amazon Web Service, we're not on Google or Microsoft Cloud. We've never developed under those platforms. That makes us independent in terms of privacy and also less prone to hacking because we have never developed our code in open source. So that's kind of one of the advantages, and all our data is stored in Switzerland, which gives you the strictest data privacy laws in the world. So if you were a business or somebody who doesn't want to have your data mined, because we don't do data mining at all, you would use maybe secure mail as opposed to Gmail or Office 365. And then definitely you don't want to use WhatsApp when you conduct business. You want to use secure messenger. That's pretty much what we do.
Very interesting. Tell me a little bit about you, your history, and what drew you to privacy.
So I am from Switzerland as well. Swiss people are very private. It's a nature. It's in our DNA. It's in the Constitution. I've had personal experiences with privacy breach, so it kind of drove me into developing these solutions for people who really need some protection. Because our data is out there and is for sale all the time, there's no service you can go to. I mean, I'm even afraid of giving my email. We all have maybe a couple sets of email, one for the mailing list when you sign up for something, and then you want to have your private email. But what we don't realize is all those other email services, they data mine you. So I wanted to offer, basically, we wanted to be the privacy king when it comes to your data and communication. So we developed the system about 8-10 years ago in Switzerland, and then we started to push internationally. We have a couple of telecom operators as partners. America Mobile, owned by the Carlos Slim and his family. They have about 300 million subscribers based in Mexico. And then we just signed a deal with Axiata Group, which is the largest South Asian telecom operator. And, we're growing the business like that because privacy and security are becoming a big concern. And, I'll address these hacking. The basic concept of how come we hear about all these hacks and email phishing and so forth? The problem is that the big companies, the big three or the big five, you used to have the big three in the auto industry. Now you have the big five in data and digitization. You have Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Facebook Group, which is WhatsApp as well. So what they do is they make a lot more money on data mining your data. And it's not like, when you hear about a hacking, it's not like a company is trying to hack you. A company will buy your data. Their priority is to exploit that data within less than 30 days or it becomes stale, and they don't really protect it. And then you have a hacker hacking that business, let's say, that needed to, target you for something. And that's how our data gets leaked out. It may or may not be directly Facebook or Google or Microsoft, even though they also have their breach, but it's all the other companies that buy your data that don't protect it. Yeah. So it's really like it's like a tornado upon another tornado, and it just never stops. Hacking and breaches are not going to stop. They're going to increase. You know, I don't know if some of us know this, but data breach costs the global economy over $6 trillion US a year in lost income or damages. So that's a pretty big economic damage.
It's huge. Yes, absolutely. And I believe it, actually, because I cover a lot of these things. So now you earlier closed your offering. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we did go public in July 2019 in Canada. Then we went listed in 2019 October in the OTCQB under SWISF. And then we just completed actually our third and final retail offering. We have about close to $5 million Canadian, $4 million in the bank, no debt, no convertible, so we're in a very enviable cash position. We have a couple of overseas funds that are also looking at injecting more money. What we're going to do with this is we have a huge U.S. launch coming up. We believe that the U.S. really is a big market for us, and there's no solution like ours. So we raised $2.2 million, $2 million US essentially last week. We closed with a bunch of overseas strategic investors, and now we closed the retail funding. We're open now to institutions. So the other thing I wanted to mention back to our solution, we're the only company that doesn't ask for your phone number when you sign up for the app. So, you know, you would go to secure.com, you buy the solution, because you cannot buy directly on App Store. You have to buy it from us first, and you download the apps, and then you don't give your phone number. That's also the most prominent way how you're going to get hacked on your device. We also don't upload your address book all of a sudden. Some of us may have switched from Facebook to Signal in the last few months, and if you're on Signal, you may notice sometime an alert that one of your friends on your address book is on Signal. So there's zero privacy. They're telling you that they're on the other application now. And that's because everything runs on this system of you give us your phone number, then we have your data, we can track you, we have all your address book as well, and we can track them. So that's very unique. We're also the only system in the world that lets you message a non-secure user. So if you're a realtor, for example, I mean, there was a breach recently on a huge mortgage broker. So if you're a realtor and you have some clients and you want to email them and chat with them without using WhatsApp, you can chat with them without them having to download our app at all, and then you can terminate the conversation on a self-destruct timer when it's all done. So I think those are very unique features of our solution.
Now, you mentioned Switzerland, and you have your private servers in Switzerland, right? So that is helping protect privacy. And can you explain how that works?
Sure. So the first thing we need to know is we are on our own infrastructure. If you are in Switzerland and you're using AWS, Amazon Web Service, who happens to be in the same data center company where we are, or Microsoft or Google, you are not protected by Swiss law necessarily, because the Cloud Act, which is a US law, dictates that no matter where your data resides, if you're using a US technology service or platform, you are basically prone to subpoena and your data is duplicated in the US. Because we're not on those platforms, we own our own servers. We rent space co-location in the data centers that houses the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the big banks, and we comply with Swiss law. And because we have our own thing, we don't need to have the Cloud Act. So the Swiss data protection laws are the strictest in the world. I mean, it's a penal crime to divulge your IP address without your consent. It's very, very strict in Switzerland. So you have the legal protection, the platform protection, our proprietary technology, and then these privacy by design, we call it, like self-destruct timer, deleting to bare metal. So when you go on WhatsApp and you say, delete the message for me, it's not really deleted on their server. They already data mined you. We don't do any data mining whatsoever, none. We don't even have cookies cookies on our website. So we make money the old-fashioned way in Switzerland by charging you money. You know, this is how banks make money too. They still do that in Switzerland, believe it or not. There's no free anything in Switzerland. And it's the same thing for your data. If you want protection, in the old days, you used to put your money in Switzerland before the international exchange rules came in 2018, and nobody even knew you existed. This is the same thing here. If you want your data private, you come to Secure. You pay us $10 a month for an email and a messaging app with 100 gigabytes of the best multi-redundancy storage. All the features you can imagine. Our Secure Send feature that lets you send an email to anybody in the world without having any kind of prying eye on it. I mean, we have some really cool features, and you pay us $10 a month, and that's it. Yeah. The Messenger is launching next week at $30 a year or $3 a month. We may do some promotional campaign for $20 a year. I mean, who doesn't want to have their conversation a little bit protected and private? So yes, we charge money, but you know that we're not going to data mine you at all.
Looking forward to more conversations. Thank you so much. PetProducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. Clickstream provides a wealth of information and data that was unavailable just 4 years ago. And with me, CEO Frank Magliochetti to explain what Clickstream is all about, and then we'll go into some more detail about what the company is doing. So, Frank, can we start with an overview of Clickstream?
Sure. Good morning, Jane. So Clickstream is a publicly traded company on the OTC, and basically we're a provider of mobile apps and digital platforms. We essentially either create these apps ourselves or we're opportunistic. We go out and we acquire them from startups or individuals. But usually on the acquisition side, we buy them very early in development. And once they come into our entity, we create value by putting them through our process. And so we incubate these apps, these digital platforms, and as you incubate, you nurture, you develop, and in that sequence, you're creating value.
Okay.
So we're a value creation entity.
Okay. And that's where you gather the data that the apps collect and use for sales or marketing or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So just a comment, just a moment on that, Jane. So basically, we aggregate data to better drive what we're trying to achieve, and that is engagement into our apps and stickiness, right? We want people to come to the app, and then we want them to stay on the app, and we want them to play on the app a lot. So those two things are important to us.
Okay. Now, there's an app, HyePal, and is that a new app, and will be launching soon? Can you explain what HyePal is?
Sure. We're very excited about HyePal at Clickstream. We acquired the concept about 6 or 7 months ago, and we put it into our development process, and we hope to launch it, and we're very confident that we're going to launch it in June of this year worldwide. We're currently soft launched in about 20 countries, and we'll worldwide launch that in June. So let me tell you a little bit about HyePal, because it's very disruptive to the language learning segment. So as you know, if you want to learn a language, it's basically either you go to class or it's on your computer. And it's very static learning. You know, good morning, good evening, how are you? And it's memorizing phrases and dialogues. What we've done to disrupt that is we're really the Facebook for language learning. So HyePal, the backbone of HyePal, is actually a social network. And we've developed technology within that social network that allows you to communicate around the world with anybody that wants to learn a language. So let's just say you live in Spain, I live in the US, and I want to learn Spanish and you want to learn English. We develop a dialogue. It's very dynamic and it's engaging, right? It's interactive. So it's almost, if you think about immersion learning, you're doing that through your social media. So we're talking that it's translating my language into your language into my language. And I'm learning as we're communicating. And we can do it one-on-one. We could have 5 people. We can chat. We can video. So it really turns the language learning business upside down. We see ourselves in schools, where it augments the current curriculum. You join HyePal and develop a pen pal in Italy and teach, them English, you Italian. And so it's exciting for us. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that. And then we also talked a little bit about the business model right off the top. Anything you want to add to it as well? What your economic model is?
Yeah. So I think it's important to understand that the first part of our program is engagement. We need to understand how to engage, how to get users to engage. And we spend a lot of time understanding the data analytics, what attracts people to our site. Specifically, you come on, Jane, we want to try to understand what things that you would like to see specifically from our site. So that gives us engagement. Then stickiness. We want to make sure that you come back. And so again, we have to analyze the data to find out what keeps you on the site. So once we find out what engages you, what keeps you coming to the site, then we're able to go to advertisers or go to a pay to play model. So it's engagement, stickiness, and revenue. And so we have an app called WinQuick, and we're now at the revenue stage. We're now going to begin to look for ways to generate revenue, which we have a bucket of ideas around that, and we're exploring it. And soon there'll be revenue in that entity. So yeah, that's our economic model for HyePal.
Okay, so there's something else called Nifter. Is that also an app? And tell me about when that will launch.
Again, Nifter was an acquired asset where it plays in the NFT space. And it was fundamentally really just a small startup company. They hadn't even started programming yet, but we love the concept. And the concept is a marketplace for NFTs. If you think about eBay, and our ecosystem is music and music-related items. So we've created Nifter, a marketplace for NFTs associated with music. We use the Ethereum blockchain. And so what our basic value proposition is, this is a safe place for you to sell your NFTs. Right. So and because NFTs is very new, people are selling them and commerce is taking place, at Nifter that your NFT is going to be held in our crypto safe, and there will be derivative selling. So you come up with you're a rock star and you come up with an album cover that you want to create an NFT. You put it on our marketplace, you sell it there, and then it goes into our safe to the new buyer. Then that buyer may choose to sell it. It's still in our safe. He sells it or she sells it to somebody else. It stays in our safe. So we're really the repository for these NFTs. And we believe that's the safest place to be relating to an NFT. We don't want to create NFTs. We believe someday that it may look differently, but the marketplace will be constant. And so that's why we play there.
Yeah, interesting. And Nifter, the name kind of fits with NFTs now that you've explained what it is all about. So are there any other areas that you're exploring at Clickstream for apps or digital platforms?
Yeah, so yes, there is an area that is very interesting to us. We've done a lot of research, a lot of data gathering, and we believe early learning is a place that we want to play. From the age from 5 to 10, we believe is a ripe environment for an app. And it's basically, if you think about an app to educate kids from 5 to 10 and take them through a sequence of learning about a certain subject. And it'd be a fun subject, right? It'd be something that is engaging enough where they'll come back and keep playing. And that'll be our first, when we launch it, it'll be our first pay-to-play app. If we get into that space, which I'm hoping we will, it will be a pay-to-play right from the very beginning.
Okay, interesting. And then you have an option to purchase WNRS. So that's winners. I know you're a company of LasVegasWinners.com.
Yeah, Vegas Winners, yeah.
VegasWinners.com. So, I mean, how did that business structure come about? And is that something you might exercise in the future?
Yes. So with Vegas Winners, the CEO of that company, Wayne wrote, basically, for the last 40 years, he has been a handicapper, and he came to us to reestablish himself in this new environment. And so we funded him. So Clickstream funded the real startup of Vegas Winners. And for that, we took an option back. And we have an option that's sitting out there that we've extended a couple of times to purchase a significant piece of Vegas Winners. Our full intent is to exercise that option. So our shareholders benefit from our strategic and tactical plan quickly.
Okay, very interesting. It's an interesting business model, and certainly a growing area. I mean, with data, and I mean, they say data is oil, so you're right in the middle of it. So thank you so much. It's great to join us and hear about. PetProducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Wee Pad Inventor Company. PharmaGreen Biotech is specializing in tissue culture starter plantlet production. And so with me is the CEO, Peter Wojcik, to explain exactly what that means. So Peter, I guess just give me an overview. What is PharmaGreen all about?
Yes, PharmaGreen, we're a highly specialized biotech company where we developed proprietary processes to produce starter plantlets for overall the agriculture sector, predominantly the cannabis industry.
Okay. Now you are CEO of the company, or are you a founder? Can you give me some of your background?
Yes, I am the founder as well as the CEO of the company. And what got me involved in this company to get it started, my background is I come from a medical family background, father still practicing cardiologist. Unfortunately, mother contracted stage 4 cancer about 15 years ago, which led me to the development of cannabis extracts, capsulating them and treating the disease. We successfully put her in remission, which started me into the path of getting further involved in this industry and helping individuals.
Interesting. So you have a personal angle here. I mean, was your mother helped by cannabis?
Yes, she was. Actually, the extracts did put her in remission for well over 12 years. The cancer came back. It was spread quite well. But we did, over the last decade, have done on a philanthropic effort to help people and to study the efficacy and dosages as cannabis relates in helping people who are diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Okay. Well, I understand that PharmaGreen Biotech is in the business of providing high-quality starter cannabis plantlets. We talked a little bit about this in the intro through the proprietary tissue culture process, Chibafrine. Am I saying that right? Can you explain what that means?
Yes, Chibafrine was developed by Dr. Fazia Freen. The process is brand new to the tissue culture industry. Tissue culture has been around for 40 years, but the innovations that we're doing in the what's called the micropropagation or the making of the starter plantlets, traditionally a 4-step micropropagation process, Dr. Fazia Freen developed a process where we can do it in 3 stages. What does that mean? It simply means we can produce more plantlets in less space, less time, and therefore at a much more efficient cost basis.
Okay, so that's just the thing. It makes the process much more efficient to help with the business.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And why is tissue culture better than farmers just using seeds or clones?
Tissue culture is it's a scientific process, whereas seeds, if you grow the seeds, they're all never the same. There is a genetic, what we refer to as genetic drift when you're developing seeds. With clones, they are done in a greenhouse type manner, and their basically cloning method is taking the tips of a living plant material and taking the tips. A good analogy is like cut yourself once it hurts, cut yourself 500 times and you'll go into septic shock. Well, the same thing occurs to living plant. Tissue culture is done with zero stress factors because it's done in a clean room lab environment, and therefore whether you make one or two of them, they're all, or a trillion of them, they're always the best genetics that science can provide.
Then how many of these starter plantlets can you produce and sell in the biotech complex that you're building?
We can produce hundreds of thousands of plantlets, and we also build the facility in such a way that it's scalable. So as the demand grows, we can grow with the demand and provide much larger supply.
Okay. And then what other things might you use the biotech complex for?
Well, the biotech complex isn't only just for tissue culture production as a facility. We also have other proprietary technologies. A very important one to mention is the live storage of plant strains. So we can put the plant species in an indefinite suspended growth state using the tissue cultures in cold temperatures. So this allows us a brand new service to the industry where we can store indefinitely individual surprise strains that they've developed as well.
Okay. And then also, I mean, I understand you're going to be doing a capital raise for the company. So what do you plan to do with that money? Do you have a target amount that you're looking for?
Yes, we're looking to raise $15 million. The first $5 million is slated towards the acquisition of the asset, enhancement of that existing asset, and the $10 million is slated towards the production of the biotech complex, where our initial stage of development is to develop an extraction facility so we can process some of the raw hemp biomass into high quality CBD oils in the first year, as well as to start the initial production of the tissue cultures for duplication and sale in year 2.
And then where can viewers learn more about the project?
The best to learn about our project would be on pharmagreen.ca, our website, as well as the social media channels that we just started to actively work on so we can spread the message more direct and faster to our shareholders.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Peter. Best of luck.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Pad Inventor Company. Paypolitan is an all-in-one payment solution. And with me is the CEO, Nils Thorant-Ortiz, to talk a little bit more about some of the updates. So, Nils, I was excited to see that you have an app now. So that's a major milestone, right? Tell me about the app.
Exactly. Hi, Jane. Thank you for having me again. The app was just launched a few days ago, and that's for me as an entrepreneur, a major achievement after a journey that began 3 years ago in 2018. So finally, we have a product. The product we have been working on all those years, and now it's real. It was released in Google Play last week, and this week, before yesterday, on Apple App Store as well. And we have, I'm very proud of that. We have a very, very positive feedback from users. We have on Google Play rating on a 4.9 out of 5. So it's a 5 stars rating. So that's very good. I'm very happy to read that.
Yeah. Is it available globally or just in certain countries at this point?
It is available globally.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so also we talked a little bit last time about staking and the concept of staking with cryptocurrencies. Can you kind of reiterate a little bit about that and how Paypolitan allows staking?
Sure. Staking is providing liquidity by locking up a coin for a certain period. So in our case, our token is called EPAN. So you can stake, for instance, our EPAN token. That means you're going to lock it for a period of time X. So we have two models. We have either 6 months, that is a fixed duration with a annual interest rate of 16.8%, or the users themselves set up the period, let's say 1 month and 3 days. Of course, then the interest rate per annum is a bit lower, or the interest rate you will make at the end of staking. But staking is, let's say it's a kind of peer-to-peer landing.
Mm-hmm. And did you say 60%?
16.8%.
Which is still incredible. 16%.
I mean, I don't know what about the US, but right now Europe, if you have savings in your bank account, you even have a negative interest rate. So they grab 0.5, 0.75% of what you have already in your bank account.
Wow. I don't think it's negative here, but I think it is less than 1%. So yes, it's just kind of a holding tank for money. It's not really anything to let grow. So how much is staked so far with EPAN?
Guess what? I looked at the numbers today and I didn't believe it. There is already over 1 million staked.
Wow. Okay. So great. And then also, I mean, which coins can be staked and how does somebody even start that process?
Well, for the time being, the direct staking, it's with our own token, the EPAN token. So you download the app, you register, that is done in 2 minutes. And then you connect your existing wallets. And if you have EPAN, you have then the button, stake EPAN. Then you have the possibility of setting your own duration or taking the ready-made staking. And that's it. So it's basically locked where it is. You don't have to send it to a specific wallet. It stays where it is. And simply there's a smart contract running then on that token for the duration of the staking.
Okay.
And the staking is calculated with a compound rate. So compound is, let's say, a bit the market leader of staking, and they have a rate that is recalculated frequently, and we simply connect it to the compound rate in order to update or also to correct the staking rate.
Okay, so you have an app now, major milestone. What is next for Paypolitan?
So what is next? We are working on exchange listings. So we listed on Bitforex in March this year, and we have a tier 1 coming up. We try to list our coin on Kraken, which is a very huge listing. And I think also the crypto exchanges are getting to a different level right now. We saw those days the IPO of Coinbase on NASDAQ, which was a major milestone for the crypto and DeFi community. And I think that's a good step in the right direction. And I hope that others will follow and also list their companies on NASDAQ.
Yeah, no, I think Coinbase was kind of when we look back on this, one of those events that legitimized the industry. And speaking of that, we saw Bitcoin run up in anticipation of the Coinbase IPO, and then it kind of collapsed, and now it's like in between. And what's your take on the current state of the crypto market right now?
Well, there have been, like always, there have been some corrections and also some setbacks. But we also saw Ether reaching its all-time high last week, $2,640 on Thursday, right? That was amazing. I mean, who had thought that? I remember beginning of last year, Ether I bought for $95. So that's a huge jump. And by the way, our token EPAN also reached its all-time high of $1.08 2 weeks ago. So even so, we're a smaller player. We're very happy and very proud that also the community investors are discovering our token EPAN and more people investing. So I think that's the second achievement after the app launch.
Now, do you think that crypto has seen its highs for the year, or do you think there'll be more upside later on?
I think as long as the pandemic is still ongoing, people will continue to invest into alternative investments. And so more or so less you make money with traditional means of investment, let's say savings. We just discussed it before. How can you still make money with your saving accounts? Mission impossible. So all those people, especially younger generations, they will directly go to DeFi. I mean, that is unparalleled, and there's a risk, obviously. It's not like having your savings in the bank that might still be there tomorrow. But even said that, that is not true anymore. We saw Greensill and billions simply vanished in the nature. But I think on the long run, the DeFi and crypto market for this year at least, as long as the pandemic is still on, and the traditional finance industry is not coming up with a real alternative that is attractive to daily users, then DeFi is the alternative. Yeah. I don't see any other option for that.
Okay, very interesting. Well, I look forward, congratulations on the app, and I look forward to another update.
Thank you very much.
Always nice to talk to you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks. PetProducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Pad Inventor Company. Welcome back. Well, we're talking again with SmartKey and also BitBoy Crypto Ben Armstrong is back. So this is like a reunion of sorts here. And I talked to you both at different times, but now you're working BitBoy, Ben, as a ambassador, right, for SmartKey? So let's start with that. And
right, yeah, absolutely. Excited to be part of it.
Okay, so if you could just start, like, why are you supporting the SmartKey project?
Yeah, so if anyone who's followed my YouTube channel, BitBoy Crypto, for knows, I've been in crypto heavily every day for years and years, invested in Bitcoin since 2012. And at this point where we are at in cryptocurrency, it's important to pretty much only support blue chip projects, I think. I think that a lot of these projects that have so much upside are the ones that we definitely want to be involved with. And when it comes to SmartKey, from the first time we read about this project, we were super, super, super excited. We know a lot of the things that, are associated with bad projects. That's been a lot of our learning process, finding out what makes a bad project and then learning what makes a good project. And for SmartKey, it checks off all the boxes. It's ahead of the curve when it comes to technology and everything they're doing. I'm sure a lot of your audience has heard of IoT, or the Internet of Things. This is basically the Wi-Fi connectivity of all devices. There's going to be billions and billions of these devices over the next several years. SmartKey's positioning itself to be the leader of what we call BOT, which is the blockchain of things, which are all of these connected devices running on blockchain. They got huge partners, including Teltonica. They've got other projects that or other companies that they're working on or with in the background that are going to be announced at different points. One thing I really like about SmartKey, and I'm really big on things that have real use case and real adoption. Just take emergency services, for instance. SmartKey is basically going to be able to work with emergency services to, let's say there's an emergency in an apartment building and the gate is locked. It's got a locked gate. SmartKey will be able to make it so those emergency services will have access to immediately go in. SmartKey can literally be saving people's lives down the road. And when you look at a lot of these projects, they're very conceptual. It's hard to see exactly how they can affect everyday life for us, here in America or here in the world. But SmartKey is definitely one of those projects. And there's so many more reasons, but those are definitely some of the ones why we are behind SmartKey. Thanks.
Okay. Well, very interesting. Well, Shmuel, let's bring you in. That was quite an introduction there. So explain the technology and the blockchain of things, because a lot of us have heard of Internet of Things and we get that concept. What is the blockchain of things?
Thank you, Ben. Lots of energy. Okay, I try to explain. We started SmartKey 3 years ago as a second-generation Oracle. Today's physical world around us is getting smarter and smarter. Yes, we have smart cars, smart buildings, and finally smart cities. The problem with all these smart solutions is the lack of communication standard between them. These are centralized solutions that compete with each other. Users are forced to use hundreds of applications. There is also a second world. You must imagine fully decentralized, open, secure, and public accessible blockchain. And we use this blockchain and we create SmartKey as a missing puzzle, connecting the physical world with this virtual world of blockchain. SmartKey is a communication standard like Bluetooth, I could say. We connect IoT devices, smart devices, directly to the blockchain. Thanks to the blockchain, our IoT devices gain interoperability, enabling the creation of completely new solution and business models. This is our advantage. Yes, we have extensive experience in building products already available on the market. We have a working product, as Ben said. And finally, with SmartKey, you can connect smart devices to the blockchain and use a safe and public integration method. 99% of early stage projects, as everybody knows in blockchain space, have only an idea. We are from traditional business. We started our project after our product was launched. As you probably know, we recently used SmartKey as a blockchain keys for emergency services, like Ben said, in Poland. In that kind, we solve the real-world problem that emergency services can help you faster. Yes.
Okay. And so what are your plans for this year then?
I could say in short-term period, we try to reach. We can say in two ways. In short term, we coming in this year. We are entering 2 exchanges. We want to enter 2 exchanges from top 10 coin market cap, and for our coin, we want to be. Our goal is to reach top 20. In coin market cap also. We will also announce several new big partnerships that will bring the SmartKey to the millions of people around the world. It will be a huge announcement. We will focus on development stage and focus on our partners in building products and that could be available to purchase worldwide. The second thing, we are also expanding the range of our flagship use case, Rescue Without Barriers. Thanks to this product, we can shorten the time of arrival of rescue teams. This program will cover several million households in this year. Together with our partners also, we will announce a global competition and hackathon with a large pool of prizes for products using SmartKey. This is short term, 1 year. Long term period, SmartKey will become a kind of a operating system driving a smart cities of the future. It will integrate the solutions already used by city inhabitants with public services. We are working to make that happen with city authorities in large European cities. We are building the open standards for cities and invite all the city authorities to join us, to help us to do it together.
Okay, well, that all sounds very exciting, and I hope you come back and explain like where you're at this year as you go through your goals and long-term goals. So thank you so much, Simone, and also BitBoy Ben for joining us today, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Petproducts.com. Thousands of products. An Al Simon Wee Pad Inventor Company. The pet industry is growing by leaps and bounds, literally. And with so many choices online, petproducts.com is emerging as one of the trusted names in the business. So joining me is Kevin Yamano, the EVP of petproducts.com, Executive Vice President. So great to have you, Kevin. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me back. Yes.
Okay, so you've been online for, what, about 2 years, but you've just really been involved in the pet industry, I mean, for a long time, since what, 70s, 80s, something like that. So can you give us a history of Pet Products?
Sure. Pet Products and our CEO, Al Simon, has been involved in so many different aspects of the pet business. And even as an entity, petproducts.com really has been working for consumers for a long time, almost 7 years now, and bringing relevant content. We worked on communities. So we showed people where they can go to get their local services, where their local businesses were, and now we're in the pet space. So even though there's a lot of kind of emerging companies, we've really been in this a very long time, helping consumers to find what they need.
Well, I think what's so neat about it is you really kind of got your base there, like in terms of that, you know, helping customers, talking to them, front line, you know, dealing with customers. And now you're kind of taking that, you're scaling it. Whereas I feel like a lot of big e-commerce companies never really had that customer connection.
And we really, I mean, we were helping people to find what they needed. They come to us and say, where can I find this? Where can I find that? And we didn't have a good solution for them. And we always would send them somewhere else. And now when they come, we're like, you can just buy it from us. And we make it very convenient for people to do that.
Yeah. Now, you're in this space, but you clearly have plans for growth as well. So can you expand on that?
Yeah. So it's hard to tell the size of a company online from just the first page that you land on. But Pet Products is really continuing to grow. We have almost over 20,000 SKUs in our system. So if you can imagine a big box warehouse retailer with a little footprint, that's exactly what we have. So we have products across all the different categories: food, treats, beds, training devices, accessories, anything that you can think of for your pet, whether it be a dog or cat, but also all the aquatic stuff you need to set up your tanks, maintain your tanks, and birds and small animals. Really, it's a one-stop shop for any kind of pet that you have.
Mm-hmm. And then how are you helping people transition from that in-store experience to online? I mean, do you find that people are doing both, or are they shifting more to online, or what's the customer thinking?
One of the concerns people have when they come online is what kind of experience I'm going to have. What happens if I have questions? How do I get that personal experience online? And that's really where we try to bridge the gap for customers and give them so many different options to ask questions, to get their, to come in and just understand what it is that they're getting. Even if the description is not clear, get clarification on that. So we have so many different ways for people to engage with us. They can call us, they can email us, they can chat with us right when they're on the page. So we can see what they're looking at and we can talk about it and give them the answers that they need. So really, for us, it's about providing that same level of customer service that you would expect or that you would get when you walk into a store just from the comfort of your own home.
Mm-hmm. And then people who would like to try it, there is a coupon for them, right?
Yes, absolutely. For your viewers out there, we have a coupon, 10% off for your order. We'd love to have you come and try pet products, see our selection, see what we have, see how convenient it is for you, and how different we are from a lot of the other sites that are out there. So the coupon is Spring TV, SPRING TV. You put that in the checkout. There's a little coupon box there for you, and we'll give you 10% off for your viewers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the update, and we'll look forward to more this year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane.
Closed captioning brought to you by Nutrisystem. Lose weight and get healthy with meals delivered to your door.
Taking care of yourself is more important than ever.
Lose weight and